Maybe you never lost anyone. Maybe they simply stopped recognizing the person you no longer are. There comes a point in life when nothing around you seems to change, yet everything feels strangely unfamiliar. The same names appear on your phone. The same faces greet you. The same voices fill the room. Even so, something has shifted beneath the surface, as if the world you once inhabited has quietly drifted out to sea, while you remained standing on the shore. For the first time, you realize the distance between people is rarely measured in miles. It is measured in becoming. Most people are taught that growth adds something to their lives. More wisdom, more confidence, more meaningful relationships. The truth is far less comforting. Real growth is an act of subtraction. It strips away the identities you performed, the beliefs you borrowed, the dreams that were never truly yours. Every step toward who you are leaves behind another version that can never return. And every version of you had its own audience. The people who laughed with you 5 years ago were not laughing with the person watching this video today. They were connected to a chapter of your existence that has already ended. They loved the language you spoke back then, the fears you shared, the ambitions that made sense to them. Once those things disappeared, the bridge between you began to collapse. Not through betrayal nor hatred, but through something much older than either: transformation. We like to believe that love survives change. Yet history, psychology, and ordinary life tell a harsher story. Most relationships are not built on essence. They are built on familiarity. They endure because both people continue playing roles that make each other feel certain about the world. The moment one person outgrows that script, certainty fractures, and what once felt unbreakable begins to dissolve. Perhaps that is why every genuine transformation carries an unexpected loneliness. Not because becoming more isolates you, but because every awakening exposes the invisible agreements that once held your life together. By the end of this video, you may discover something unsettling. The greatest cost of growth is not the people who walk away. It is realizing that many of them were never walking beside you. They were walking beside someone who no longer exists. Growth has always been marketed as accumulation, more knowledge, more strength, more success. Yet every genuine transformation follows a different law. It does not begin by giving. It begins by taking away. Long before the world notices that you have changed, something inside you has already been dismantled. Certainties collapse. Desires lose their flavor. Old ambitions fall apart in your hands like objects that belong to someone else. Nietzsche's call to become who you are was never an invitation to improve yourself. It was an invitation to survive the destruction of every false self that stood in the way. Jung understood this in his own language. The self does not emerge by decorating the ego. It emerges after the masks become too heavy to carry. Ancient alchemists expressed the same idea through solve et coagula. First dissolve, then rebuild. There is no gold without fire, no new form without the disappearance of the old. Nature has always whispered this truth. A snake does not negotiate with its old skin. It leaves it behind because remaining inside it would become a prison. Even the phoenix, so often reduced to a symbol of hope, first becomes ash. People admire the rebirth, though few would willingly endure the burning. Human relationships obey the same principle. Many people are connected not to your essence, but to a particular version of you. When that version dies, their attachment dies with it. They are not abandoning the person you became. They are mourning the person they understood. This is why growth often feels like loss, even when you are moving in the right direction. Every inner death redraws the map of your life, and not everyone is meant to cross into the next territory with you. Yet an even harsher possibility remains. Perhaps they were never walking beside your true self in the first place. If the previous chapter revealed that growth demands the death of old identities, this chapter reveals something even more unsettling. Many people never related to your identity in the first place. They related to your function. From childhood onward, every relationship forms around an unspoken agreement. You become the funny one, the dependable one, the wounded one, the ambitious one, the person who always says yes. Over time, these roles harden until they are mistaken for personality. Jung called this the persona, the face we present to the world. Erving Goffman later described social life as a stage, where each person performs according to expectations that keep the performance alive. The tragedy is that audiences rarely applaud actors who abandon the script. The moment your priorities change, the relationship enters unfamiliar territory. A friend who admired your shared struggles may feel distant once you pursue a different purpose. Families sometimes fracture when one member questions inherited beliefs. Entire circles dissolve after someone changes careers, social class, or faith. These endings are often blamed on success, ideology, or ambition. In reality, they begin when the role that once made everyone comfortable is no longer available. Schopenhauer believed that human relationships are often shaped by self-interest more than people care to admit. That observation remains uncomfortable because it appears in ordinary life with unsettling consistency. Many connections survive as long as they continue feeding a familiar emotional need. Remove that need, and affection is forced to stand on its own. Some relationships endure that test. Many do not. That is why the final conversation is rarely the true ending. By the time words become cold or messages stop arriving, the separation has already taken place. It happened gradually, through every expectation you stopped fulfilling and every version of yourself you refused to perform. Most goodbyes are spoken long before anyone decides to leave. There is a point where growth stops feeling like movement and starts feeling like separation. Not because the world has changed, nor because people have become worse. Rather, because perception alters the way reality is experienced. Once you begin noticing the patterns beneath appearances, it becomes difficult to return to living only on the surface. This is the hidden cost of awareness. A child enters a room and simply plays. An adult enters the same room and reads intentions, measures words, anticipates consequences. A deeply conscious person often goes one step further. They observe the invisible currents shaping every interaction. Fear disguised as confidence, approval mistaken for affection, habit confused with meaning. The more layers you perceive, the harder it becomes to respond with the innocence you once possessed. Perhaps Plato's cave was never only about escaping illusion. Perhaps the greater tragedy begins after leaving it. You can recognize the shadows for what they are, yet you must still live among those who experience them as reality. That is not superiority. It is distance. Thinkers like Émile Cioran and Philippe Mainlander wrote from this uncomfortable frontier, where greater lucidity often carried a heavier emotional weight. Modern psychological research echoes a quieter version of the same idea. People who spend more time reflecting inward frequently seek fewer relationships, preferring depth over constant social stimulation. It is not necessarily that they reject others. They simply become less satisfied by conversations that never move beyond appearances. Awareness does not make someone better. It makes certain forms of belonging harder to sustain. Eventually, you discover that the greatest divide between people is not intelligence, education, or status. It is the number of illusions each person still needs in order to feel at home in the world. And once enough illusions fall away, the crowd no longer feels like a place you can truly enter. Knowledge has never been a reliable path back to the multitude. By now, it becomes clear that losing people is not merely a personal experience. It reflects a law that extends far beyond human relationships. Separation is not an accident woven into life. It is one of the conditions that make life possible. Heraclitus expressed it with remarkable simplicity. Everything flows. Nothing remains identical to itself because existence is movement, and movement refuses permanence. Buddhism reaches a similar conclusion through the principle of impermanence. Suffering begins when the mind demands stability from a reality that has never promised it. Look closely at nature, and the same pattern repeats without exception. Seasons do not cling to one another. Rivers never return the same water. Forests become ash before feeding new growth. Stars spend millions of years forging light, only to exhaust themselves in collapse. Even the universe, according to modern cosmology, appears to be moving toward a future where every flame is eventually spent. A distant horizon sometimes imagined as the heat death of the cosmos. Whether that vision unfolds exactly as predicted matters less than what it symbolizes. Even the largest structures are not exempt from dissolution. Human beings resist this rhythm with extraordinary determination. We preserve photographs against fading memories. We revisit places hoping they will restore the people we once were. We repeat old conversations in our minds as though memory could negotiate with time. It never does. Relationships end for the same reason mountains erode and galaxies drift apart. Not because they lacked value, nor because they failed, but because nothing in existence was designed to remain untouched by change. Perhaps this is the deepest misunderstanding of all. We believe loss interrupts life, although loss is one of the ways life continues moving. The more fiercely we demand permanence, the more painful every departure becomes. To resist loss is, in the end, to resist the very architecture of existence itself. After everything we have explored, one illusion still remains. It is the oldest one of all, the belief that anything was ever ours to keep. Perhaps the deepest form of attachment is not to people, though. It is to the story that they belong to us. We speak of my friend, my family, my partner, as if language could transform passing encounters into permanent possessions. Yet existence has never signed that contract. Every meeting is a crossing of paths, never a merger of destinies. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that everything we love is borrowed from the world. Not to encourage indifference, rather to free the mind from demanding guarantees that reality cannot provide. Schopenhauer arrived from another direction and reached a similar horizon. Much of human suffering is created not by events themselves, instead, by the expectations we attach to them. We do not grieve only because something ends. We grieve because we believed it should not have ended. There is another way of looking at this. Taoism speaks of Wu Wei, often understood as acting without forcing, moving with the current instead of exhausting yourself trying to command it. Imagine a river carrying autumn leaves downstream. The water does not hesitate before each leaf. It does not turn back to recover what has already passed. Neither does it celebrate what remains. It simply continues because flowing is its nature. Perhaps consciousness matures in the same way, not when it learns to endure every goodbye, not when it becomes incapable of love. Rather, when it no longer mistakes movement for theft. At that point, people may still leave. Memories may still fade. Entire chapters of life may vanish until they resemble dreams recalled just before waking. Even so, something fundamental has changed. Loss no longer feels like a debt the universe owes you. It becomes another expression of the same law that brought everything into your life to begin with. The more awake you become, the fewer people remain, not because the world has rejected you, nor because you have risen above anyone else. Every consciousness that keeps questioning, shedding, and transforming inevitably travels toward places where fewer companions can follow. In the end, growth does not make you extraordinary. It simply dissolves, one illusion after another, until nothing remains except reality itself. And perhaps the last illusion to disappear is the belief that loneliness was ever a punishment. It was only the moment when every borrowed certainty had finally fallen away, leaving you face to face with existence as it has always been. If this video gave a name to something you've been carrying for years, then it has already fulfilled its purpose. If you want to keep this journey going, consider becoming a channel member. You'll unlock more than 100 exclusive videos exploring philosophy, psychology, nihilism, and the ideas we can't always share publicly. And if you'd like to support this channel directly, you can also leave a super thanks. Every contribution helps us create deeper, more thoughtful videos like this one. That said, don't feel obligated. Simply watching until the end, subscribing, and sharing these videos already means more than you probably realize. Thank you for being part of NullSOPHY.